And we're playing the video.
Black, cisgender, heterosexual identified men are killing Black trans women. Black ones.
We are not talking about it in the church.
Those street guys are already engineers. If they're mixing drugs and stuff together, they're chemical engineers.
If you're just like, yeah, let's kill 50 cops just because, that's only a fraction of the Black people that they killed. Wait, now you're talking about my wife.
For those of you who are joining in, we are talking about just the housing in the Black community and owning property, why it's important, and how to get yourself in there.
When I think of financial literacy, I just don't think of the classroom work. I think some of it is practical application.
I'm scared, especially, calling them to arms, talking about poll workers or poll watchers. That is rooted in history of voter suppression and intimidation.
Joe Biden needs to make that a part of his educational platform.
Call that shit out.
I don't see much value in you speaking in tongues, and yet when you speak in English, you don't say nothing for my people.
Many of the reasons why we're dying is because of the conditions we live under that cause our health to be so bad, and that cause it's the food, it's the water, it's clean that shit up first.
When their fathers had prostate cancer, I had like a 150% chance of getting cancer, being diagnosed with cancer. I had a friend that did a raw vegan diet, 20 years remission, had thyroid cancer, never had surgery. I'm like, that's what I'm doing.
Welcome to this historic day. So this week in Black People Shit, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love. I'm your host, Christy Ferris. Earlier today, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris were sworn into office under heavy security and safety measures due to the coronavirus and the assault on the Capitol 2 weeks ago by treason, just stupid Trump supporters. Maybe I shouldn't have said stupid, but yeah. Anyway, the 46th president and 49th vice president took their oath of office as the preceding. I feel like I need to start all over again because I'm just way too excited. So the 46th president and the 49th vice president took their oath of office as the preceding President Donald Trump left earlier in the day, kind of kicking and screaming, I would imagine. But on this historic day, we will discuss this and many more topics with my normal cast of characters. And we have our one and only Janora McDuffie, who is also the speechwriter for Kamala Harris. And the writer and Bernie.
Hey, everybody.
And writer and Bernie Sanders stylist, Abdul Majid. So, hey, everybody. I'm so excited. I know I'm kind of all over the place because I'm just so excited that it's all over. I'm like, yes. But just so you guys know, make sure that you don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you are going to This Week in BPS on our Facebook page and YouTube page to watch the show. So I am so excited that today was just such a wonderful day. Oh my gosh, to see the performances and to see Joe Biden get in there and all of the things that he went through, and of course Kamala Harris. So let's first talk about the fact that Kamala Harris, being the first Black woman as vice president, so not only is she Black, the first Black, but she's also a woman, the very first woman. Let's talk about that. Yay! Go ahead, Janora.
Oh man. First Black woman, first woman of Asian descent. I'm not trying to leave that part out either. And it just gave me life, gave me so much just movement in my heart and blood flowing warm in my veins, not just for myself, but for the world and especially for the next generation. Martika working behind the scenes, throw up that image of the little girl doing the oath with Kamala if you get the chance, because this is what I'm talking about. Watching this, these little girls, these little boys of any color can see no limitation for what they can do. It is permission to dream bigger, to be anything you want to be. even my old ass, like I could still do some things. But I was just moved to tears, in fact. And just to know that she's in Washington, D.C., in this building that was built by slaves, that she went to Howard University just down the street from where she was standing right there. Man, if you weren't moved, you're not alive. And yeah, I ain't got no words for you if you weren't moved. But it was an amazing moment in history to be a part of.
And Tori says, so amazing. Yes. Abdul.
Yeah, I wasn't moved, but I thought it was historic. I like the I wasn't moved, but I did think it was a historic moment. I like the fact that Trump is no longer. Huh?
I'm sorry, Kendra said, okay, Pearls, Christy and Janora. Abdul, no go.
It was historic. It was. I'm glad that Trump is gone, right? For a whole host of reasons. So that is a reason to be excited about today.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be a downer, so I'll leave everything else for the next time we speak about this.
All right.
That's a big step for you, Abdul. I'll take it.
There you go.
Yeah. So
and
congratulations to her and her family and all that other good stuff.
So for me, I didn't realize I was going to be so emotional about it. I mean, man, it just, and they were making such a great point, which is her great niece will only know that a Black woman can be vice president. Like moving forward, she'll go, well, what do you mean? What do you mean that, a Black woman can't be president? We've had one, so it was very historic to watch. I don't know if you guys watched the other portion where it was like this, the inauguration around the world, but they had all of these performers that were there, and watching all of these people of color out there celebrating around the world. It was absolutely beautiful. And let's talk about Amanda Gorman, who got up there and did that speech.
Man.
Listen.
Poem.
Yeah. What did I say? Oh, did I say inauguration speech? I meant to say poem, but it was so beautiful. I mean, and I think on her Instagram, she went from 25,000 followers to I think the last time I looked, it's like at 800,000. So because immediately I went to her page. It was like, oh my God, who is this girl? I got to post about her. Absolutely beautiful. She made me cry. And
she's a poet laureate too. That's the thing.
Yeah, and to see that she went through this issue of having a speech, impediment to being this woman who's up there. So Abdul, what were your thoughts on it?
The poem, I thought the young lady was beautiful. I love the poem. I like the what's the word I'm looking for? The detail and how she spoke. Her elocution was amazing. How she delivered the poem was amazing. The style of writing, the particular style of poem that she wrote, in the style that it was amazing. It was in the vein of it wasn't like every iambic pentameter on the third or the second. It was sort of like what oh my God, I'm forgetting my poets. But it was amazing. Hands down, it was a beautiful poem. It was a beautiful poem. And kudos to her. And I hope she gets everything that she deserved, because she was really amazing.
How about you, Janora?
Oh man, I mean, from the moment she got to the podium, before she even opened her mouth, she just exuded excellence. And again, moved, just like you, Christy, today, emotional, and just her words. I printed out a copy of her speech, and out of everything she said, yes, snaps all around. But I definitely highlighted our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change, our children's birthright. So again, it's more than this moment. It's more than about us here and now. It's about ushering in something greater that starts with love. And it starts with us restarting that, or remembering that and living that. And so Amanda Gordon was the embodiment of that. A couple things, I looked her up too, Christy, that I thought was just fantastic about her. Absolutely, yes, youngest inaugural poet in our history.
Yes.
She wrote that after the event of January 6th. And, she wore a ring up there given to her by Oprah Winfrey. It was a ring with a cage bird that was a gift from Oprah for the occasion to symbolize Maya Angelou. And y'all, she did that all with a runny nose. You know what I'm saying? I was like, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Let me find my place again. But
look, she did just like this, and then said, "I'm gonna keep it going."
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna keep it going. Yeah, and when I went to her page and I saw that Oprah was there to support, and I mean, this young lady, Harvard graduate. I think they said that she was a Harvard graduate. I was just proud all around. So and that yellow jacket, I was like, I don't know where she got that from, but I need that jacket in my life.
Hey,
you know what I'm
yellow
saying?
jacket and her head, her red headband were all from Prada. So she was dressed for the occasion too. Yes,
she did say that on her page, and I need it. So as a matter of fact, since we're on this kick about this yellow dress and everything, how about the styles that all of the women that stepped up on that stage, from Michelle to Kamala to Jill? I mean, I was like, y'all are over there rocking it. I don't know if you want to talk about this, Abdul, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this to Janora. But let's just talk about how sharp that Michelle is right now on that.
No, none of these women came to play today. And yes, Tori Overton Littlejohn, Michelle's hair was on point too. She says, Michelle's hairstylist, my new BFF. Now, she was wearing a Black designer whose name is Sergio Hudson. So nod to that as well. She looked great. She looked like a superhero. That was amazing. And every single woman who took the stage was flawless and unique in their own lane. Like, look at Jill, just that beautiful turquoise color. And even like the little net at the top. Give it to him, Jill. That was beautiful. Who else did we see today? The performers. We saw J-Lo. Oh, now she was in Chanel, and that she gave me like a feel of Prince with that ruffled white top. Martika, do you have a picture of J-Lo? And even her performance, I can just speak to that real quick, how she even infused herself in there, and especially herself representing the Latinx culture and citizens and neighbors that make up America. So to see her looking good and representing, I just thought was fantastic. And of course, Lady Gaga. Fanfare. You couldn't expect Lady Gaga in anything less than something super couture and unique. Apparently that bird was a peace dove for her, and she sang. I ain't mad at all with Lady Gaga and her rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, so before I let you jump in, Abdul, if you have anything you want to talk about, and which you don't look like he does, but Tim said it was great to see the former president attend and show their support for Biden. And we know Bush loves him some Michelle Obama. I'm surprised he didn't act up in there. Let's see. What else? We already talked about the hairstyle. Kinsey said, hello, yes, love that. Her poem gave me chills. And of course, all of these people who are loving Amanda. Yeah, and also to the diversity of the entire ceremony. I mean, it was beautiful, Kendra. I agree with you on that. It was just so much diversity all the way from yesterday to today. I mean, not just the inauguration, but the whole performance that they had afterwards. it just, to me, represented what America is. And I was extremely proud. And then this right here, we have Amanda Gorman still to show with her poem. And let's just see real quick before we get to you, Abdul. Good evening, all. I had to step away at the moment. I thought I heard Abdul say he wasn't moved about something having to do with today's event. I'm back and wanted to know what that was about and if you heard correctly. So go ahead.
Yeah, you did hear correctly. I wasn't moved by the event. I did like the fact that Bush was gone, but it's like I remember this isn't exactly the sentiment.
Trump is gone.
Trump was gone, yeah, but this isn't exactly the sentiment. But I remember back in what was like 2001 when we got rid of the Taliban in Iraq, and then ISIS moved in. But we were so happy that the Taliban was there that we didn't even see ISIS coming. Mm-hmm. I am not a fan of this administration because I see their resume. This isn't a personal attack on them as people. This is what I know from their records and behaviors. I am open to the possibility that they would do great things, but I'm also on the side of Black people. And the stuff that I see rolling out so far with regards to Black people, and the most concern I have is the fact, and I can't be a broken record, but it's reparations for Black people. Mm-hmm. And reparations has a momentum to the point of where they did an article about it in Vanity Fair talking about, is it time for reparations? They did an article about it in the Times. And knowing the stance of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I have concerns. That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad that Trump is out. The fact that there's a Black woman as vice president, even though they're not an ADOS Black person, that's a different story. But you know, like you made the comment that a Black woman in the house that slaves made, like that wasn't her people. She didn't come from Blacks in this country. She came from Blacks in Jamaica. That's a different context. It means something different to a Black person who's from this land. And I don't want to be, you know. I'll leave it alone. Anyway, that's where I'm at with
this. So Joe. I'm sorry. President Biden had 3 executive orders. That was racial equality, the mask mandatory, and rejoining Paris climate agreement. Right. Yep. So you're basically saying that those 3 executive orders have nothing to do with Black people. None of them.
No, because the racial one, a lot of it has to actually do with immigration. The most things that he's been talking about recently has to do with DACA and has to do with like immigration. And there's a few things in there regarding the Black people, but it's not specific to Black people. It has to do with that minority tag that they keep putting us in. And that's my concern, unless I read it incorrectly, which is a possibility. But they keep tagging us with the minority tag, which means a lot of things, not just Black people. So
right. Yeah, I mean, because they did say for some of these places to look into the racial issues that are happening in-house and get that corrected.
Yeah.
So Janora, what is your thoughts on that?
I got lots of thoughts for Abdul. I am going to stand true to the spirit today and be in celebration of all good things, which means the biggest thing I took from what you said is that you will remain open. And I just hope that most people will do. Now, however, I will throw at you a couple things. For example, the things that he has done, not even 24 hours in office. Chrissy just said he rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement. Black folks live on this earth. I breathe the air. That affects me. Also, he extended the financial relief for the evictions and foreclosures related to COVID and the pandemic. That affects Black people. It doesn't have to say it in black and white, but I am a human on this earth, and already these things that he has done today has affected me in terms of COVID, making it a mandatory mask wearing. I don't know what it exactly is, but the Black folks are leading in terms of cases that are of mortality to COVID. So this is positively affecting Black people. Abdul, just because it doesn't say this is for Black folks exclusively doesn't mean it's not positively affecting us. And if you want to paint it, okay, people believe whatever they want to. And I am going to come from the school of, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. This is my lane, and either you with me or you're not. And I'm only going to spend my time, lovingly finding that common ground. But if we can't find it, this train is moving on. So my response is Black folks are included with the things he's already done with less than 24 hours in this office. And if you're saying that signing the Paris Agreement doesn't affect Black folks, then you are on Mars.
We were in the Paris Accords before Trump had anything to do with this, so it has nothing to do with anything. We're just rejoining something. We're rejoining something that we already were in, and Black people were catching it. I'm not done.
Climate change is real, and
climate change. I didn't say climate change wasn't real, but you're acting like Black people weren't catching hell when we were in the Paris Accords the first time. We're on the same track that we were before. That's one. Two, the reasons why Black people are catching COVID at the rate they are has to do with the structural oppression that Black people have been doing in this country. It has nothing to do with masks. It has to do with the food that we're eating. The fact that we live in roach-infested homes. The fact that the hospitalization is wrong. It has nothing to do with us wearing freaking masks. Yes, I do believe people should be wearing masks, acting like a mask of the remedies for all the things that Black people have to go through that he hasn't even touched on, talked about, or even looked at since the time he was a senator. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm totally not disagreeing with you in terms of the disparity of resources over the course of generations since we landed in this country. But I'm saying I am going to rest on you being open. I'm going to rest on him having that on his agenda because it's Black women that put him in that office. And
Black people. It wasn't Black women. It was Black people.
Black
people.
Oh,
right. Okay.
I'm not trying to argue for my day, daggone it. But what? Just one thing. I do think there's a lot to look forward to. And I do think that there is so much growth and change and common ground that could be found that is rooted in this history. So I'm not disagreeing with you there, Abdul. I'm just saying today's a good day and let's stay there and celebrate from there.
Here's the thing, though. Here's always my concern when it comes to Black people is that we get shit on so bad that we get the little inkling of light and then we jump for joy. And I'm tired of jumping for joy for the littlest things. You got to move me now.
Little things. Kamala Harris is the first woman vice president in the United States of America. That is not a little thing.
Yeah, and she was the first person that stuck a bunch of Black men in jail and tried to keep them there too. I mean, that's not
Christy.
Okay, all right. Time out. So I am agreeing with both of y'all. Crazy enough, because I understand what you're saying, Janora. I do. But I also understand what Abdul is saying, which is, and he said this a long time ago. He said this way before we even got close to the elections, which was when everything is over and said and done, when Biden gets in, Black people are not going to be the number one priority with all of the BS that is going on in this world. And sure enough, when I was looking at all these 17 executive orders that he was going through, I was like going, I don't know if any of these have anything to really do specifically for Black people. So I get it. And I just want to say we have a guest that's coming on a little bit later on, our BPS of the week. Armani is over here in the chat. I feel like I need to bring him on because he is chatting away. And I'm like, well, I feel like he got something to say. So I'm actually, Armani, put in the chat if you would like to come on, because if you got some stuff to say, especially too, because your family is from the Caribbean and you were born in the U.S. So he said that everywhere, every Black people around the world are proud of Kamala.
I can see that.
Yeah. So with that being said, I feel like we got to calm this down a little bit. Y'all was going at it. I'm like, this went from a happy day to like, what in the world? Let me just bring up some of these comments real quick. Okay, cool. Armani, we'll bring you on in a second. So better than Trump's resume. We can't be satisfied with what we have passive, but it's a step in the right direction.
I agree.
Yep. And then Cordell said, I think we should give them a chance. I agree with you. You may not like their resume, but the past administration has brought to light that things have to change. So hopefully they will see that. And I like you, and like you, maybe I will leave some things alone for now. Good to speak to you. And then Tim said, Biden extended the rent evictions. What is that word?
Moratorium.
Word for me. Thank you.
Moratorium.
Tim, you know I can't pronounce words. You know I'm dyslexic. And will extend the deferment of federal student loans loan payments.
I saw that too.
Deferment, I do know because I have put myself on deferment a couple of times.
Yep.
Janora, you're
and
on.
Guess what? Black people went to college.
Yeah.
Oh, did I unmute myself now? Am I good?
There you go.
No, you're good.
I was just going to point out that black people went to college. Black people went to college. I think this would affect us.
He's helping the farmers too, and black people eat food. Yeah, that's it. There we go.
And our farmers.
Upward and onward.
Yeah.
It's amazing how low the bar is for us. It's so low. The bar is so low.
All right. We get everybody's point. We're gonna move on. Let's go ahead and bring Armani into the fold. We'll definitely do him as a BPS shortly, but it sounds like he got some stuff to say. What's going on?
My man Armani.
Yo, what's going on, y'all?
So you make sure you talk a little bit closer to the mic because we can't hear you that well.
Is that better?
A little bit more.
Better?
Yeah.
Better?
We're going. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Just make sure you speak up a little bit. That's why we had a little thing that you were supposed to be on a little bit earlier before the show. So we could have did a little.
Give the mic check early. I know, my bad.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Just make sure you speak up talk louder than normal, like outside voice. So what do you have to say about all this?
Well, no, I think that we're past the time of being excited about someone getting into a position. So we're not naive, I think, but at the same time, our community does need to be proactive and make specific demands and requests and hold people to account.
Yes.
People talk about what someone's record is, right? I think from my recollection, the previous president, while he ran on the Republican ticket for the previous 35 years of his life, he voted Democrat and gave to Democratic candidates. It's when it suited him, he changed uniforms. Prior to the Democrats being the party of black folk, quote unquote, in the 60s, right? The Democrats were the Dixiecrats. That was the party of segregation, right?
Yeah.
And black people from a certain era would look at you crazy. Black people were Republican first. So I think when we study the history of this whole thing that we're talking about, this experiment, and they've been experimenting on us, I think my mom told us, my grandmother said, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. So we know what it is that we're dealing with, but unless we're all going to get on a Black Star liner back to Ghana, we need to get engaged, stay engaged, and fight with our elbows. So I mean, I would much rather the current administration with a Department of Justice that's going to actively enforce consent decrees, attorney by trade, and I know what that is, than the previous administration that was actually, pulling the rug out from all of those consent decrees with police departments all over the country. So
okay, so explain to the audience what you're talking about specifically, or Abdul, whichever.
They want to know what a consent decree is, Armani.
Okay, copy that. So a consent decree when a local municipality, specifically a police department, is busted for violating people's rights, and they go into federal court and they get sued. In addition to paying money for violating people's rights, the police departments will enter into what's called these consent decrees, which basically allows the federal government to come in as a watchdog and check on their practices, things of that nature, to make sure that their actual practices and policies change. Essentially, when we look back, the Department of Justice actually rolled up the KKK in the 1800s, right? Right after the Civil War. The Department of Justice wiped out the KKK. It was allowed to come back after the Tilden-Hayes Compromise, right? Subsequent administrations allowed the Reconstruction era to be terminated prematurely, and Jim Crow to be installed.
Yep,
and,
after 7 years.
And the summers and the years and the decades of terror that followed, the domestic terror that followed. But while there was an administration in place, the KKK was squashed in the 1870s, right? So it has been done. It can be done. There needs to be the political will to do it. And again, you're right. I mean, when you say the bar is low, part of it is we've been asking for too little.
Yes.
Right.
We've been asking for too little.
Right.
Right. You have not because you ask not. So that's my attitude. And I mean, I agree. Me and my J, you know, that's my A life. So I just.
So I see that Armani and Abdul come from the same school, because y'all dropping the same type of knowledge I see. So just so you guys know out there, they are friends. We will definitely get into that and see how they are friends, how long they've been friends. But I can see that y'all dropping the same knowledge, which is interesting that you're bringing that up because just talking about, going back and redoing things. I saw that, and when I say redoing things, like checking on, I guess, what do they call it? God, I can't remember what it's called. Balance, like checks and balances. Right? I'm assuming that that's somewhat what we're talking about because Trump, if you guys don't know, Trump pardoned about 147 people.
Yep.
And a lot of them, I went and looked like how many people were white, how many people were black, that type of thing. What type of people was he pardoning? Like he was giving pardons to. And a lot of them were first-time offenders or nonviolent drug possession. Some of them were like marijuana, and he gave them pardons. And I thought that was very interesting. It was a lot of people who had been in there for life. Like one guy was in there since 1967, who stole a car. And that's what he went to jail for and has been in there for a long time. So it's just very.
I don't think he was in there. I think they commuted his sentence. I think he got a pardon. Yeah. He was out, but they pardoned his sentence. So like they did the woman from Rock Nation, Desiree Perez, the CEO of Rock Nation, and she's been out for a long time. She had a couple drug charges, and they commuted. They pardoned her for her sentence so she can do other stuff because now she's not on the record anymore because she had a Fed crime.
Right. Thank you for correcting that.
Like they got Kwame Kilpatrick out, the mayor from Detroit. They got Harry O, the founder of Death Row Records, who's been in there since like the 80s or something like that. But he had some heavy drug charges. He had some like serious drug charges. So they got some Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, but they got some military guys out as well. Some guys who killed some what they thought was insurgents in Iraq, and they got a bunch of executives out as well. So, It
was interesting too. Some of the people that were supposedly spies, like Russian spies or just different spies around the world, and he let them out. Janora, did you have anything on that you wanted to add?
Maybe Lil Wayne had a crystal ball, and that's why he went hard for Trump because he knew he might need a get out of jail card.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's all shady.
He got a bag for that, though, didn't he?
He did, and there was a lot of people
to endorse Trump.
Oh yes, he got paid for that. Yes, I did hear that too. In the conversation about Trump, because we're on the West Coast, Christy, I missed it. I was asleep when he flew away in his helicopter and had whatever imaginary ceremony he may or may not have had. And what I realized. Sometimes I'm hooked, right? I would have found the footage, rewound it, watched it, made sure I was part of that moment so I could, send them off with an extra bird in addition to the helicopter. Anyway, bad joke. The whole point I'm trying to say is I did not miss him today. And I realized that my day has been so much more positive because he was not there. And I'm happy he wasn't there. I think it would have been a distraction. The camera would have been panning him instead of on Amanda. or on
Right.
what's supposed to be important. So I think with him not being in the picture, I think that also leaves hope for people to calm down, or people to not be so hooked on the negative or on all the shit that he brought to this world. Let's unplug from that and replug into something different. And y'all know I've been on this Peloton kick. Shout out again to Kendra and Tori, my Peloton sisters. So 2 days ago on MLK Day, one of the instructors, Toon Day, had an MLK ride. And what she talked about in that ride is something I'd like to include in this conversation that we're having right now in terms of where do we go. She talked about we're not going to return to this normalcy or go back, but this is the opportunity. This is the type of fertile ground where we can reimagine and rebuild from here, but not based on any of the old structures, but really taking this opportunity to just reimagine something new. And so again, that is the energy I'm taking from today. That is the positivity I'm going to lead with. You know, history will and time will tell which direction life will go or policies will go. But this moment and this feeling right here is priceless. And this is what reimagining the future can be.
And before I let you guys jump in, I didn't miss it. I was going to get up at like 4:30 this morning, and then I was like, do I really want to, sit here and figure out all this negative stuff that he's about to say and start taking notes? Because after I saw Melania Trump give her speech where she was talking about the kids, I mean, everything was about the kids, and all I kept thinking was, are you kidding me? You left all those kids sitting in a cage. And you over here talking about all the things that you did during the presidency that had to do with kids. So I was like, yeah, I don't even feel like getting on that. Abdul, did you have anything to add?
I saw it. I thought that the YMCA song that they played while he was leaving was funny based off the lyrics. I'm glad he's gone. Like everybody else is glad he's gone. So I'm not. This is not it's not a cheering session for Trump over here. I'm just concerned about getting rocked to sleep, and it seems like a lot of us are getting rocked to sleep already. And we're not. Some of the people that we are supposed to be pushing for us to achieve certain things, we sort of put them on these pedestals, and they don't need to be at the moment because they haven't done anything to be put on those pedestals as of yet.
He has done a few things today. But I do agree with you, Abdul, in terms of being rocked to sleep. And I think that is something that we all need to be wary of, is this whole sleep as in sheep, continuing to think for ourselves, continuing to research and find the truth for ourselves. But in that conversation, I got one more point to give you though. But yes, being part, holding them to task on how we put them in office, why we put them in office. Now is the time to go to work. Yes. So
yeah.
One thing. Tim Sanchez, no, Janora knows I love her. I do not have a short fuse with Janora. Janora knows I love her. We just debate all the time. So.
There you go. Tim said that new light is making Abdul have a shorter fuse with Janora.
Great, I can handle it. I can handle it.
Janora knows I love her, so it's all good.
Armani, did you want to add anything to that? We were just talking about the whole Trump and no, you good? Because we can definitely move on to something that's a little bit more positive, which is the Lincoln Memorial had 4,000 flags that represented all of the people who had died from the coronavirus. I actually had a friend that died yesterday from the coronavirus, and that was really hard. And my significant other had 2 people that died from the coronavirus, and so it had meaning for me to see that. Did you guys have anything on that you wanted to bring up?
I thought it was a good gesture. I thought it was smart, so there wouldn't be a bunch of people on the at the fountain and everything, giving each other corona or things of that nature, and it looked really beautiful. And I believe it was 40,000 flags. I think
400,000.
Oh, was it 400?
No. 400,000 were the amount of people who died from coronavirus. 40,000 were the amount of flags on the lawn.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yes. Cordell said Amanda Corman, 1.5 million followers on IG. How many of that 1.5 million do you think followed her today after she spoke? Oh, absolutely. Because when I saw her earlier, she didn't have that many. Then when I went back and looked, she had 700,000, and now you're saying she has 1.5 million. So I guarantee it definitely had to do with today.
Yeah, 1.499.
Yeah. And Janora.
And me right now.
Exactly. Yes, thank you. Big shout out to Reggie Brown, who passed away. He was a great man in this business. And so I just want to just say that. And I just want you to know, wearing the pearls. I saw Tammy Mack was talking about the pearls and it's standing for being a leader and still being a lady all at the same time. Janora, do you have anything to add of what it really significant, like what it signifies?
Well, that is the power of language, as you can put whatever meaning you want to. I wore it in solidarity of being part of the Divine Nine, as in Kamala proudly, Vice President Harris proudly representing Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and me as her sister in Delta Sigma Theta sorority. So just as solidarity in that family. But yes, most every woman in a Black sorority is a leader and a lady.
Yes, and I just want to say,
in theory.
I just, just so you know, for me, I wanted to wear this because this is this was given. This was actually my grandmother's, my father's mother, Elaine, and I wanted to make sure that I represented her today as we reflect on everything that happened. Let's talk about. We want to make sure that we get to reflecting on Dr. Martin Luther King. It was his birthday this weekend. How significant has all of this been? What has happened in the world with the riots, with the things that happen at the Capitol? How significant is his birthday falling around the same time as this inauguration? I'll start with, go ahead, Abdul, look like you have something to say.
Yeah, I think it's extremely significant, but not for the fact that, I guess maybe one point would be the fact that Black people are accomplishing the things that they are now in government. That's one. And the fact that Black people were the ones that got us in the Senate, that got us to take over the Senate, that got us to take over, got us into the presidency. But I think more specifically, I think about the fact that he never stopped pushing. He never stopped pushing these politicians to get things done. The Poor People March, what he was trying to accomplish with regards for Black people getting their money. I think that was so significant. And I think in a time like this, in the era that we're in, Dr. King and that message, 68, 65 and back were something different. If we look specifically at 67, 68, after the I Have a Dream speech, which is great, but I think that Dr. King, the King that who was pushing for Black people to have property, to pushing Black people to get their money back, pushing for jobs, pushing for things of that nature. I think that's the Dr. King legacy that we really need to look at this point in time.
It's I sent you guys a link to a video that Dr. King did, that he was probably like a CBS or ABC interview. And one of the things that he said is that you're telling Black people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But you can't expect somebody to pull themselves up by their bootstraps if they don't have boots. And you have not given Black people the boots to pull themselves up. They're out there homeless, don't have a job, don't have money, all of that kind of stuff. And we're talking about during that time period, especially. But I thought that was so significant that people still to this day don't get and understand that you can't pull yourself up if you don't even have the boots. So, Janora, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, so I think it is perfectly timed when we are such a divided nation right now. what he represented was so much unity on a level at that time had never been experienced. So it is a reminder that we could do it again. And if you are on the other side and you swear that Martin Luther King was your dude, think about what he stood for and think about where you are now and what your thoughts and your actions are doing. So I think it's a call to action for those who are in this middle area or who are disheartened with America. Like, let's remind everyone who Dr. King was with his celebration and holiday that we all pay tribute to. And I'm so happy that his birthday is more than just a holiday and a day off, but it's turned into a day of service, because that's what it takes. It's not just honoring those words, but being in action and being in service. I listened to NPR on MLK Day, and they had this one poet, and I swear Lene Fournier something. Oh, I tried to look her up, but I think I have her name wrong. But either way, her poem was like, get King's name out your mouth. As in, you are over there and you can't even say Black Lives Matter. You are over there and you are standing as a patriot for Trump, even after all this mess. Don't you dare put Dr. King's name in your mouth. And it was an amazing poem. And I have not been able to find it, but I am going to keep doing some research because it was just so powerful and something I hadn't thought of before, but so apropos to where we are in this moment.
Yeah, you definitely make sure you share that, because I would love to hear it. I think people fail to realize that, Dr. Martin Luther King was the most hated person when he was alive. They hated him. They hated John Lewis, you know what I mean? Just like they hate Colin Kaepernick. But now how things are starting to change. And I guarantee, at some point in time, things are going to change for Kaepernick, where people are going to honor him and like he's going to be this legend. The same thing with Muhammad Ali. They hated him, and yet they ended up honoring him in the end. Which now brings me, before we get to you, I want to bring up some of the movies. I know that some of the. I know you got a chance, Abdul, to see A Night in Miami.
Yeah.
You got to see. So, what was your thoughts on the film that originally was a stage play?
I thought it was really good. If Janora gets a chance to watch the play, she'll see that the same argument that Malcolm and Sam Cooke were having are the same argument that she and I tend to have. It's an interesting dynamic, and then you have Jim Brown on one side, and Muhammad Ali sort of playing somewhere in the middle. But
like
Chrissy, you're Jim Brown or Muhammad Ali, one of the two. But I think that I think it was very well done. Who was the director? That was what is her name? Regina King.
Regina King. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. It was shot beautifully. The dialogue was amazing. And everything about it I really liked. I liked the topics, and it was something that's even the messages are for today. There's the things that discussion that we're having right now in terms of integration and in terms of Black people's what degree of white acceptance do we need in order to consider ourselves to make it, and why can't we just be on our own and be affluent on our own? Why do we have to immerse ourselves into society that doesn't really like us? Like, those are conversations that people are having now, and those are the same conversations that they were having. I think that was what, 63, 62, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So. Well, yeah, I thought it was great. It's based off of a stage play. So yeah, I thought Regina King did a great job, and I do feel like there could be some nominations. We'll definitely see. My movie was American Skin. That was a Nate Parker movie. Didn't get a lot of pub, you know, but I needed to do something like this because it's basically about this. His son gets murdered, and he ends up taking these police officers into hostage, and does a trial right there with his peers, which are all the people that are in jail. So I know a lot of people probably wouldn't want to see that, but I think for me, I needed to feel some type of justice happening. So I was all for the movie. And my girlfriend, Milana Jamé, is also a lead in it. So I was all for
good
it.
stuff.
Yeah. Janora, how about you?
Oh, my favorite movie that I have seen with folks that look like me is Sophie's Love. I was so moved. And what's really interesting, it's not like this crazy, unique story that's never been told, but it's never been told with people that look like you and me. And so just to see that was just beautiful and poetic. Whether it's the costumes or the music, I just wanted to be there. And so thank you, Tessa Thompson. Thank you, Washington's fine ass husband. Everybody involved in that film. Again, life. And it's so interesting what it means to see yourself. Like, you might not know it's a big deal, and most people, the majority culture, don't ever know what it's like to not see them. But when you finally do, and when you're filled up because you do, you're like, man, this is what I needed. And again, going back to hope, going back to moving forward for a story like Sophie's Love to be around for folks to see that are younger. I just think that it continues to create power. There's power in stories. There's power in representation. So thank you, Sophie's Love.
Yeah, it was just beautiful. It was, you know, I mean, it was just beautiful. Just this love story that we don't get the opportunity to tell often, which also brings, it brings me to Bridgerton story, which they're connected because he was in both, the lead guy that was in there. But
yes, he was.
Here's another story where we were included. I mean, the queen was a Black woman. It was like, yes, and these Black women that were in the story were strong. They were beautiful, and she was my favorite right there, the one in the purple. She was my favorite the whole entire show. So again, being able to see us on screen to represent us was amazing. There's a couple of other ones I'll mention, but Armani, did you have anything that you might have seen recently that you want to throw in there?
No,
Thank you, Tommy.
The night in Miami.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that, and also the historical narratives, and just in general, that I'm not like was it Bridgerton?
Yeah.
Not necessarily something that I would gravitate towards, but knowing that someone like Pushkin, right, who is like the greatest Russian writer of all time, was a Moor, and his grandfather was a great Russian general and was in the court of the Russian czars at the time. I think these stories are real. We actually have real stories, right? Throughout the European monarchy of African monarchs. And I think part of it is that part of the history that was wiped away, even seeing it now brought back to life, and people think it's fiction, when there's really actually some nonfiction. It's real. I think it's great. It's great for the soul to see, definitely. So I'm a big fan of that.
Yay.
And speaking about Black queens, we got to talk about the Tiger Woods documentary, because there was not a single Black queen in that documentary.
You drive me nuts. Hold on. Before we bring that up, Faye, I just want to bring up Faye's comment real quick. Go ahead. Can you bring that back up again? Faye had a comment that was on there that I thought was important that we make sure we say. We found, finally, Queen Charlotte was portrayed as she was of African descent. Amen for that. And then, of course, these are some of the other honorable mention documentaries and films that were there. We had You just brought up Tiger Woods. Go ahead up to what you gotta say. Go ahead.
Oh, the Snow Bunnies jammed him up, and Tiger loved the Snow Bunnies. Good Lord, they jammed him up. But it goes. You know what? The one thing I got from Tiger, and I mean this in the most respectful way. No matter how hard that you try to run away from your blackness, you can't escape it. Because Tiger tried in every way, shape, or form, and when he got jammed up, they threw it in his face, and they did everything to him that they do to a black man. As much as he wanted to be a Cavalier Asian, they let him know, no, nigga, you're black.
Yeah.
Where's the Cavalier community when you need them?
Exactly. Exactly.
I remember one time he got interviewed, and he made some jokes about black people or something, and racist type jokes, and he just thought he was just having a conversation with this guy, while they were riding in the limousine, and the guy ended up posting it in the magazine. And
Yeah.
I remember, and Jordan had to call him and say, look, you can't say anything. You can't do these things. They are not your friend. And so I thought that was good. I know we had Soul on the list.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if we had anything else that was on that list, but Soul was another good one. If you guys get a chance to see that too. And now,
did you think he was interesting? Damn, I got to give up the movie to tell the story, but there was something interesting about the black man character to me that I thought was interesting throughout the whole movie. Because is that majority of the movie he was actually a cat.
Yeah, he was. Mm-hmm. And I know some people were kind of upset about that.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about it, and the fact that the white woman was actually the black man throughout the majority of the movie. I was like, that's interesting that you get it because because a lot of people got upset because they did that with the Princess and the Frog, where they take black characters and they make them something else. They did the same thing. What you say?
Will Smith in a movie, an animated feature.
Yep, a pigeon.
And most of the movie, he was a pigeon.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's something to look into. I never thought about it like that. Yeah. The whole time I was just happy they had black people, but I didn't realize as a voice character, I wasn't thinking about the type of character they were. Something to look into. Okay, I want to make sure that we get to our BPS because he has been on this whole time.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoy the show. So our BPS person of the week is an attorney, writer, and producer who has merged his respect for the rule of law with a passion for the world of innovative thought into a career that positively impacts both. Armani B. Scott, Esquire, applied lessons from his Caribbean parents and dedicated it to telling dynamic, positive stories of the African diaspora. Diaspora. I'm crazy, y'all. Armani is a co-creator and developer of The Majestics, a multimedia franchise that centers on an African American family of patriots, philanthropists, and superheroes. Welcome, Armani Scott. I got to go over these words ahead of time. So tell us a little bit about your business and your superhero and all of that great stuff and what you do.
Yes. So the Majestics, it's the concept is, what if George Washington Carver had patented all of his inventions with the peanut and willed that generational wealth down through his family? What would his third and fourth generation be like in this country? And we took those kids, and actually the children are based on my son, my niece, and my nephew, and we made them superheroes. So it's like the Black Kennedy family meets the X-Men with a real actual historical spine in it, and that this particular family traces their lineage back to pre-dynastic Egypt. So the idea was, when I was growing up, I loved Lord of the Rings, I loved Star Wars, and the notion of mythology. And so the Majestics is our contribution to African American mythology in the form of modern superhero genre. So that's what it is. It's basically our love letter to the diaspora in the form of a superhero story that we hope gets to the children and to the families and sort of cracks them open a little bit.
That's fabulous.
Really? Go ahead, Jannar.
And so where is it now in the universe?
So www.mightymajestic.com is the website. We actually have a Creators Edition graphic novel that we're making available, which is the first comic book that we wrote, plus all of our developmental artwork, scripts, things of that nature, so that we sort of set the stage. And we have a new graphic novel coming out later this year that we're calling the Book of Om. So right now that's what we're focused on, but the first edition is a Creators Edition, which has the initial development, all of the backstory, a lot of the backstory, that everything, all of the blood, sweat, and tears that's gone into it up to this point.
He recently had his comic book featured at the with Schomburg.
Yep, the Schomburg up in Harlem, 9th annual Black Comic convention up there, Harlem, USA. So Arturo Schomburg, who is a great Afro-Caribbean from Puerto Rico historian, and that library up there, they've been hosting a convention, Black Comics, for 9 years now. So we did a little 1-2 up there, which was always great with the folk. Digitally this year.
So we have the comic book. So what's the ultimate goal that you would love to see happen with it?
Oh, when the first thing we actually wrote was a full-length live-action screenplay. We saw it from the beginning. We saw it completed, and and Abdul can talk about this, when you sort of come to the quote-unquote entertainment industry with an idea that big, people, especially that kind of an idea, you got to sort of take a step back and break it down for people sort of phonetically. So the comic book actually was reverse engineered as a way so people could see the concepts and we could move it forward. And also we could protect our intellectual property, actually. And so we actually created so again, we saw it big. We saw it TV, video games, all of that from the inception. We were initially writing out the bios, the character bios, and the storyline. We knew what it was. We just had to continue to work at it and create different elements that we could move into the marketplace on our own without any help from anyone else. So we feel like we're getting to a place of critical mass now. We've got animated music videos that we're actually putting out with some really cool people. So
Armani's a really dope lawyer, because he's my lawyer, and he's a really dope writer and producer. And I really want this comic to do exceptionally well. Someone who knows somebody should put them on to this if they haven't seen this, because this is the perfect time with the perfect message, with the and it looks, and it's not the fact that it's a good story, but it looks really good if you get a chance to look at the animation. It's done really, really well. Like he's meticulous about his work, and he did a really great job at it.
Let's see, hold on 1 second. Cordell said, what island are your parents from?
Mom and dad are from Trinidad. And we also have family from Barbados as well, Grenada as well. And my dad's family also back to Venezuela on this side of this hemisphere.
Okay. And then how can we support you? How can we support you?
Well, go to the website, check us out, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The first Creators Edition is available on the website actually this week. So we'll do another launch, put out a blast when you can go on and purchase, and just come along for the ride. I think part of what we're hoping is that people take ownership of it. We're creating it. It's a big space. So again, once people start to take ownership of it, because it is their story, and started filling the blanks. I remember as a child growing up, when I would read stories that didn't have Black characters, I would imprint Black characters onto the characters as I was reading. And
Nice,
it was
me
only when I
too.
was much older that I realized that some of my other peers did the same thing. So part of it for us is giving these characters to our folk and letting them know that they're theirs, that it's for them to add on and build and add on.
So before we end this, we do have a clip of your project that we're going to pull up right now.
Superb.
The Crenshaws, owners of the Crenshaw Foods Empire, patriots, philanthropists, and American royalty. Truly, one of the most revered and powerful families in the world. There, deep within the ancient pyramids, they will find more than they ever could have imagined. Knowledge is power.
Yes. You know, Janora, myself, and I have so many friends who are voice actors, who do animation, and I mean all the big animations that you see, games, all that different TV shows, cartoons. So when you're ready, let me know and I will hook you up, and that'll be my contribution. And if you want to throw a little bone and give me a job and Janora a job, we all for that too. So, but no, but yes, but thank you for coming on and just sharing what you do. Again, you guys who are watching, we love to honor people in the community who are doing magnificent things. And Armani is over here creating stories for us, by us, about us. And I think it's very important for not only our kids to see it, but us as well. And what a day that we had today of showing a Black woman being vice president. So it's just all around us. We want to thank you again for joining us. Definitely follow Armani. I see that Cordell did already. He's following you on IG. Are there any last words you guys want to say before we get out of here? Everybody got like 30 seconds. Abdul, anything you want to say?
Quickly, yeah. If anybody got anybody they want us to talk about for BPS Person of the Week, please hit us up because we'd love to hear about anybody that you have in mind.
Absolutely, Janora.
Yeah, and follow us on our Instagram page and our Facebook page, This Week in BPS. We're excited to continue to expand our wings and conversations. And you all that tune in week to week or in the replay are part of the show. So we thank you.
And I'm doing a live recap tomorrow, I believe, with Martika at some point. I think it's live or it's recorded. Either way, it's going to be up tomorrow. So.
All right. And then Armani, would you like to give any last words?
God bless you all. Thank you. And we like to say, I am majestic and so are you.
Hey, yes. Again, everybody, we want to thank you for joining us. Please make sure that you're going to the BPS page. I think some of you guys might still be on my Christy Ferris page, which is fine, but it'd be great if you go to the BPS page so we can get more likes over there to let people know people are watching. And we will catch you guys next week. This place, same time, same place. Thank you again. And somebody just said, please do a live on what Abdul started to touch on. That needs to live on its own. I don't know what you said, Abdul, but whatever it is, make sure that we talk about it.
I'll try to talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not about reparations.
Gotcha.
No, I'm just teasing.
I want to thank We want to thank everybody who came on today. Brian, thank you for showing up. You guys always seem to come back every single week. Kendra, Tori, Tim,
Karen Wood Ross.
Karen Ward, thank you for joining us. Cordell, we do appreciate you, and we will catch you guys.
You, Lanny. I just wanted to shout out Lanny, who showed me some love.
Lanny,
that's
yay!
all.
All right, and of course, all of our friends that come on every single week. Justice, we appreciate you. All right, you guys, have a good night. And my cousin, he's probably out there, but I just want to say, Corey, thank you for checking in. All right, good night, you guys. See you
Go
guys next
America!
week. Yay! And she got her